What is up, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Anthony KT Wrestling. It is so good to see you. So glad that you could join me for episode 10, I believe this is. Whew. It's been fun. It's been a fun ride so far. Let's get going. So for today's episode of Anthony KT Wrestling, I am looking ahead into the future of 2025. There are a few things that I am looking forward to, and I'm sure that plenty of you are also looking forward to. So, with that, let's go into it. Let's start right off the bat. January 6th, 2025, when we kick off this year with a new era of Monday Night Raw, as history is made as Raw, the longest episodic show in history on television history, on cable television, leaves cable and goes to Netflix live every Monday night. It's history. It's an exciting moment. I honestly would say this. It's not only a historical moment within WWE. It's a historical moment in professional wrestling, in sports and entertainment together. This is big moves with WWE, and for Raw to go to Netflix is exciting. And it hasn't been announced. It hasn't been announced whether Raw will stay a 2-hour show or become a 3-hour, or go back to being a 3-hour show. Sorry, my nose is a little weird. I think a lot of us feel the same way, that Raw will go back to being a 3-hour show. They're back on Netflix. They're not back on Netflix. They're on Netflix. Other sports that have gone live on Netflix, like the Jake Paul fight, and of course the NFL games that will be airing this week on Christmas, will be more than 3 hours. So why wouldn't Raw go back to 3 hours? And I think it, plus 3 hours, gives men and women on the roster who either don't have enough time to tell a story on Raw weekly, or either have to wait a week or two or more before they can get on TV. This gives them opportunity. This brings back that, having that third hour back on Raw brings that opportunity. I think this would be a good thing. I think it'd be a good thing, not just for us fans, but for the men and women on the roster as well. So I honestly believe that Raw will go back to being 3 hours, especially that first night, with everything that they have planned for Raw, January 6th. Oh, absolutely. I feel like it'll definitely be 3 hours. There might even be a little lag time, which is a great thing to have. And it's not like, and that's the beautiful thing about Raw being on Netflix, which I'll go more into detail about it next week's episode of Anthony KT Wrestling. There's no cutoff time. There's honestly no cutoff time. They go off when they need to go. They go off when they know they're done. Anyway, moving on. The next thing to look forward to in 2025 is SmackDown. It was announced by WWE that SmackDown, beginning January 3rd, will go from 2 hours to 3 hours. In this, I am excited for this. I have been watching SmackDown since day one, since that first episode when it started on UPN back in 1999. That first episode of SmackDown, and the history of SmackDown is a great history, because SmackDown, when it first started, it was the second show, right? And it was on Thursday nights, UPN, and then it moved a little bit it went from UPN to this network called My Network for a little bit, and then after that it went to Sci-Fi, and then after Sci-Fi it went to USA, and then after it went to USA, and then from USA it went to Fox, and now it's back on USA Friday nights. And through that whole course of history, it's always been 2 hours. for SmackDown now to be a 3-hour show, it's the same thing that I'll say that I said about Raw. Having SmackDown be a 3-hour show is not only good for us fans who who enjoy SmackDown and how fast SmackDown goes as a 2-hour show, also gives the opportunity for the men and women in the locker room to have longer time with their matches, to tell stories, and opportunity for men and women in the locker room who usually don't get this opportunity all the time will finally get this opportunity with this extra hour, which is great. And here's the other good thing about having SmackDown as a 3-hour show. Having SmackDown as a 3-hour show now puts Raw and SmackDown on an even playing field when it comes to the draft. When they do the draft again. So when they do the draft again, the same amount of men and women that Raw gets will be the same amount of women that SmackDown gets in the draft moving forward, which is great. There's no Raw gets more because they're 3 hours and SmackDown only gets this many because they're 2 hours. No. Raw and SmackDown both get the same amount of picks during the draft. I love that. Looking forward, January 3rd, 3 days before Raw goes to Netflix, we get the first Raw of 2020, the first SmackDown of 2025, and it's 3 hours. Yes, looking forward to that. Also, in 2025, we have two retirements that we are looking at. One retirement is obviously is bigger than the other. But the first retirement that I'm going to talk about is Goldberg. Goldberg retiring in 2025, having somewhere between 1, 2, and 3 matches to close out his pro wrestling career. Now, that either he'll have one last match at WrestleMania, or he'll have 3 matches that will span somewhere between Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam, is where I'm guessing where that would go. We don't know much more about Goldberg's retirement, except that we just know that he's going to retire in 2025. Who he will face, it could be Gunther, it could be Cena, you know. We don't know. All we can do is speculate wildly about it and have fun with it. So let's have fun with that. And the other retirement is John Cena. Now, John Cena's retirement is going to be a little bit longer than Goldberg's. While Goldberg's is going to be anywhere between 1 match to 2 matches to 3 matches, John Cena is going a full final year in WWE, in the squared circle, having matches, hitting those PLEs, and being involved in every single PLE, which they've already advertised with the Elimination Chamber. The last time we'll see John Cena in Elimination Chamber. The last time we'll see John Cena at WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble, all of that. Now, just because it'll just, as a reminder, it'll just be the last time we're seeing John Cena in the squared circle. It doesn't mean it won't be the last time we see John Cena in WWE, on WWE TV. That is something that will last long after he is done with his in-ring career. But it is going to be an exciting year for John Cena in the squared circle. The matches he will have, the stories he will tell, and who that last match will be, we'll know December of 2025. So this is going to be a fun year, and to watch John Cena, how it goes, and especially for Goldberg as well. One last thing in 2025 that I wanted to bring up was AEW. Beginning January 1st, AEW will start streaming simultaneously Collision and Rampage. No, sorry, not Rampage. And Dynamite on Max, as well as all their pay-per-views. Now, I've said this in a past episode of Anthony KT Wrestling, that while it's a good thing that AEW will have their pay-per-views streaming on Max, you still, when you want to watch that new when you want to watch that new pay-per-view, like a World's End or an All In or an All Out, when you want to watch it when it airs live, you can, but you have to pay. You have to pay for it. There's it when it's on Max, it'll be half price. Now I have said this a few times that this is a disappointing thing, because if you are a subscriber to Max, you are having to pay. You are having to add to whatever you're paying on your Max subscription. So whenever there's a new pay-per-view that month and you want to watch it, you got to pay whatever the half price is, plus whatever you're already paying for Max. I've said this many times, that this is a bit of a this is disappointing in that feature. Now, if you don't think it's disappointing and you still like that you get to watch those pay-per-views on Max, but they're half price, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. That's how you feel. I'm really just stating how I feel about it. That I feel like it's disappointing in that regard. But that is what's going on with AEW, as far as what I know, beginning January 1st. And everything AEW will be on there. So you can watch past pay-per-views when they air. As far as, now the other thing I'm kind of curious about is that after a pay-per-view airs, does it automatically become free like a few days later? Now, if that's the case and you wait a few days later and then watch it, then I don't know exactly. I guess a lot of these questions will be answered as of January 1st and on when it comes to those things with AEW, but that is something to look forward to, and that is some exciting news on the AEW side. Now, before I go, I want to quickly say that there are so many things that I didn't talk about from either on the WWE and on the AEW side that are to look forward to in 2025. A lot of those things haven't been announced yet, but we sit back, we enjoy every moment, and just have a good time with it, and speculate as wildly as we want, and just enjoy it. This is hell of a time in pro wrestling, and I'm loving every second of it. I loved it when I got into it in 1987. I loved it in the 90s with the Attitude Era. I loved it in the early 2000s with Ruthless Aggression, and I'm loving it now with this era of WWE and just in pro wrestling together. So let's just keep enjoying. Let's keep having fun. So before I go, let's get into the segment, the one segment I have on this show called Wrestling with Rumors. Let's get into it. All right. So, according to, hold on, let me just pop that up. Here we go. So, according to PW Insider, the belief among everyone they have spoken to is that the teaser WWE aired on Raw this week is indeed for the debut of Penta. And if that is the case, which a lot of us believe it is, and it pretty much looks like it is, great. And I honestly see Penta debuting January 6th, Monday Night Raw. It's going to be a hell of a debut. It's going to be great when he is. It's going to be great to see what he does in WWE, and I look forward to that. I really do. Moving on. Some online have found clues they think hint at Dakota Kai being the one who attacked Kairi Sane, and that a Damage Control breakup could be coming. As long as Damage Control has been around, they've been around for a couple of years now, and it's changed, moving away from Bayley to it being Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and then at one time, and even Asuka as well. And we haven't seen Asuka for a while. I could see it being Dakota Kai, because as we know, Dakota Kai in the past on NXT has turned on previous tag team partners, tag teams, and just in being part of a team in general. But it also could be Asuka. It also could be Asuka. We haven't seen Asuka in a while. You never know. It could be Asuka. One thing that's not on here that I will say is that when it comes to Jade Cargill being attacked, it could easily be Bayley, But I believe it to be Naomi, and I believe it to be Naomi because Naomi had something to gain, which is being the other half of now the tag team champion with Bianca Belair. I could be wrong. I'm speculating on it, but I think it's Naomi when it comes to who attacked Jade Cargill. Also, on Wrestling Observer Report, Dave Meltzer said there may be more departures from TNA in the days and weeks to come. Talent were asked to take a pay cut, apparently. The only talent that I could see leaving would be Grace, Georgina Grace. I could see her leaving, coming to WWE. What she has already done, just in NXT alone, has been really good. She's put on some really good matches with NXT. The whole deal between WWE and TNA has been really beneficial for both WWE and TNA. And I could see that. I could see her coming in. I mean, look at Motor City Machine Gun from TNA to WWE. Same thing could happen to Georgina Grace. So I could see that, her being the one coming from TNA to WWE. On Backstage Pass, WrestleVotes said they've heard almost all year that WWE wants CM Punk in a world title match at WrestleMania 41. Votes isn't sure how WWE will make that happen, especially since they don't think Punk is set for a program with either Cody Rhodes or Gunther. Now, I will say that right now, as of now, Punk is starting this program with Seth Rollins, which their first match one-on-one will happen on the debut episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. Now, where it goes from there, I don't feel like Seth Rollins... I feel like Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, this is only their first of many matches to come in 2025. So how we get to that world title picture, I don't think it happens at WrestleMania. Now, it could be wrong, and it could lead into, while they're in this bickering, while they're in the middle of this battle, that they're also battling for an opportunity at the World Heavyweight title. And it could lead into a WrestleMania 41 match where it could be a triple threat. Now, we also have to take into effect that CM Punk has a favor coming to him by Paul Heyman. And what that favor could be, it was said on an episode of Busted Open that the main event at WrestleMania is the favor that CM Punk will look to cash in. Now, if that actually happens, it's a main event match at WrestleMania, either at night 1 or night 2, for the World Heavyweight title. Now, if it's against Gunther, now how we get there, I'm looking forward to how we get there. Now, it could be a triple threat main event match, but it's still a main event match for CM Punk to be in the main event spot. How we get there, I think a triple threat is all I'm seeing right now, but we're still in 2024. We got about a week and a half left in 2024. So I think by starting January 6th, when we get to that match and then we go forward, how we get there, it will start to play itself off. Will slowly start to show itself, and we'll start having more clear ideas of how it'll eventually get there for WrestleMania 41. According to WrestleVotes, WWE has talked about adding a Tribal Chief Championship to the ongoing program between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. The belt would be similar to the People's Championship presented to The Rock at WrestleMania earlier this year. All I'm going to say about this is, I hope this stays a rumor, okay? The Ulufala is all they need. The Ulufala represents Samoan history, culture, and tradition. That wearing the Ulufala represents and says in Samoan culture that you are the tribal chief, that you are the head of the table. We do not need a tribal chief championship. No. I hope this is a rumor, and I hope it stays a rumor, and that's all I'm going to say about that. According to according to Fightful Select, WWE has had internal discussions about booking CM Punk versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. Now, as I said a little earlier about the favor that Punk has coming to him, this could also be that favor. This could also be how CM Punk gets a main event match at WrestleMania by having a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. That possibly also could be the favor. There are some hints at War Games for that, so the possibility of going from War Games of that happening to how we get to that match at WrestleMania is interesting, and just gotta watch and see. One last thing, it sounds like the idea of doing Punk versus Reigns at WrestleMania is a different direction from what was planned a couple of months ago. CM is particularly wants the match to happen, but if Rock tells WWE that he is working the event, then plans can change again. That's not just a Rock thing. That's just how things go within WWE. You know, they can have plans and a roadmap of how certain matches happen that get us to WrestleMania, how they get to WrestleMania. Like it was shown in that documentary of how they were going to get to WrestleMania 40. Originally, it was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40 for the World Heavyweight Championship match. And then that changed when CM Punk got hurt at the Royal Rumble. Originally, it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania 40. But after Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble for a second time in a row, the fans spoke. And when the fans spoke loud enough, the changes were made. And we saw that happening. We saw that happening at that WrestleMania kickoff show they did from Las Vegas. And everything just kind of went from there. And we ended up getting that tag team match, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. And then the main event, which led us to watch Cody Rhodes finish that story, winning the one championship his father never officially won. So something like this to happen again at WrestleMania 41. It's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last time. So as far as what the matches look like at WrestleMania 41, we can put them together. We can speculate all we want. We could put all the matches together in WWE 2K24 and play them and show them on YouTube, and this is what this match is going to be, and explain it. But we're only guessing. You know, it's only speculating, and that is the fun of it, is to speculate wildly and to always watch the product. 2 rules from the last broadcaster, Sam Roberts. So that's all I got for you this week on Anthony KT Wrestling. Thank you again for joining me. I will be back here next week with a new episode of Anthony KT Wrestling. And until then, in the meantime, in between time, y'all take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.